The Lawn Line War, where property ends and pride begins. HOA's hidden hand, rules that cross the bounder, the trap beneath the green. The day. Karen stepped too far. Justice on the front it. Began with the sound of a lawnmower humming across the edge of my yard, not mine, but theirs. A sharp mechanical growl that chewed through the quiet suburb where appearances mattered more than people. The kind of place where manicured lawns hid festering rivalries, and every blade of grass had a story to tell. They called it community maintenance. I called it intrusion. Week after week, the Homeowners Association sent their workers, or sometimes their self-appointed enforcer, Karen, to trim, cut, and reshape what was mine. It wasn't just grass anymore. It was territory. A silent, creeping invasion masked as neighborly duty. I watched it all from behind my blinds, my patience eroding 1 inch at a time. In this neighborhood, rules had sharp edges, and the people enforcing them didn't care who bled first. The problem started small, like all suburban crimes do. A misunderstanding here, a passive-aggressive note there. But the HOA had a way of turning pettiness into policy, and Karen was their weapon of choice. She wasn't officially in charge, but power in places like this doesn't come from title. It comes from obsession. She moved through the cul-de-sac like a queen without a crown, clipboard in hand, policing the length of hedges, the brightness of porch lights, the color of mailboxes. And then she found mine. At first, she left notes. Neatly printed letters tucked under my doormat. Please ensure your grass height matches community standards. Then came warnings about my flower bed being too close to the sidewalk. I adjusted, complied even, but every concession was met with another rule. It wasn't about the grass. It was about control. I started to notice the pattern. Every time I trimmed, she'd have the landscapers extend the HOA's mowing boundary just a few inches further into my yard. She'd stand there, arms crossed, watching them trespass under the excuse of alignment. And when I confronted her, she smiled that sharp, polite smile, the kind that cut deeper than any insult. That's when I realized something important. She didn't want compliance. She wanted submission. In any crime, motive is everything. For me, it wasn't revenge. It was restoration. I wanted my line back, the invisible boundary that defined what was mine in a world that wanted to take it piece by piece. So I started planning. Not the kind of plan you sketch in haste, but the kind you build in silence, the kind that grows like roots beneath the surface. I studied her patterns, the times she walked, when she inspected, when she felt most confident. I learned how she used the HOA's rules as her armor, and I waited. The day came wrapped in sunlight. Perfectly ordinary. She was out early, barking orders at a crew trimming hedges. Her voice carried across the street, shrill and self-assured. I'd already done my part that morning, just a small project, something subtle. A section of turf that looked ordinary, but wasn't. I had installed motion-triggered sprinklers wired to sensors right at the edge where she always crossed. Nothing dangerous, but strategic. The moment her foot breached that invisible border, the system activated. She didn't see it coming. The sprinklers exploded into motion with precision, drenching her in an arc of cold water. Papers flew, her clipboard fell, and the landscapers froze mid-motion. For the first time, Karen wasn't in control. Her expression was priceless, shocked, humiliated, then furious. She stormed off, soaked to the bone, muttering about reporting me to the HOA board. But the damage was done. The line had been redrawn, not just in water, but in pride. It wasn't long before I received the letter. Formal, sealed with the HOA's emblem citing unauthorized property modifications and non-compliance with safety protocols. Typical bureaucratic intimidation. I read it, smiled, and filed it away. Because I knew something they didn't. The neighborhood had seen. The image of their self-appointed enforcer, defeated by her own arrogance, had spread faster than gossip ever could. In the following days, something changed. People started waving again. Neighbors who used to avoid eye contact began talking at the mailbox. Someone even said, half-jokingly, that the lawn looked greener on my side now. But I didn't gloat. I knew peace in places like this was never permanent. Karen retreated for a while, licking her wounds, waiting for a chance to strike back. She complained to the board, tried to rally others, but the tide had shifted. The HOA thrives on fear, and when fear breaks, the structure weakens. She found herself isolated, her authority questioned. And in that silence I found my justice. Yet, it wasn't the trap or the humiliation that satisfied me. It was the realization that boundaries are sacred not because they mark land, but because they protect dignity. In life, people like Karen exist everywhere. They push, they test, they encroach. They'll use rules, guilt, or politeness to take what's yours. And most of us let them, thinking peace is found in compromise. But sometimes, standing your ground is the only moral act left. I looked at that strip of grass, freshly cut, gleaming under the afternoon sun, and I saw more than soil and seed. I saw the cost of silence and the power of reclaiming space. It wasn't just about the lawn anymore. It was about life itself. How often do we let others step over our boundaries in the name of keeping things smooth? How many times do we allow little trespasses until we don't recognize where we stand anymore? Every blade of grass was a reminder that small things matter. That pride, when rooted in respect, isn't arrogance, it's survival. The world will always have Karens, rules, and invisible lines drawn by people who believe their authority extends into your life. But when you stop defending what's yours, you stop being yourself. That's the real crime here. Not what Karen did, but what I almost allowed. The next week I saw her again, standing at the far edge of the street, clipboard gone, arms folded but weaker somehow. She didn't cross the line this time. She didn't need to. The message had already been written into the ground. Sometimes victory doesn't look like triumph. It looks like silence, the kind of silence that follows when a bully realizes their power has limits. The grass grew thicker in the weeks that followed, untouched, unchallenged. Neighbors nodded in quiet respect when they passed. I didn't celebrate. I simply tended to what was mine, understanding now that every inch of peace must be guarded. People talk about justice like it's a courtroom verdict, but real justice happens in moments like these, small, quiet reclaimings of what's been stolen. The lawn was green again. The air was still. And for the first time in a long while, the line between what was mine and what wasn't stood clear, shining beneath the morning sun as if the earth itself knew where to stop.